Hello and welcome to Cooking with Phil Darst. If it's your first time here, I'm glad you found us. And if you're one of those that keeps coming back, I'm sure glad to have you again. I thank you for coming. I hope you're going to enjoy what we're doing today. It's going to be a little different than some of the meals we've had. This is going to be a Sichuan dish. And Sichuan, as you know, I'm sure, is part of China. Now we've done some Indian, we've done some Italian, of course American. I like Chinese food. Used to go to a Szechuan restaurant quite often when I lived up in northern Indiana in Fort Wayne. I got attached to their food because I like the hot pepper flakes. And we're going to have some of those today. Now, this is October, which is Pescatarian month. What's a pescatarian? Some people know, some may not. If you watch TV and you see the commercial where the young girl tells her mom, "Mom, I'm a pescatarian now," and the dude doesn't know what one is. If you don't, I'll tell you, it's simply a vegetarian that eats fish. Now I'm kind of one of those. I quit eating all meats over 40 years ago. I was a vegan. And then I let it creep into my diet a little bit. I started with shrimp, which is one of the things we're going to use today, and went in to eat some fish occasionally. I do eat a little bit of chicken, but I stay away from the red meats and the porks and those. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to. Doesn't mean that you can't watch this video if you don't want to go along with us. But when I started this channel, it was to help some people eat a little better, a little more nutrition, and a little bit safer, sounder food. So we're going to do that. Now, one of the other things I'm going to tell you briefly is, in the last video, I told you I was going to lose an inch off my waist. Well, I've about got that done. It's only been 11 days now, and I took myself off of sugar a week ago last Friday. This is Tuesday, and I have been able to stick to it pretty well. I did have some cravings at first, but I'm seeing the benefits now. As I've shown you before, I'm an artist, and I was having trouble holding the brushes, and my fingers were getting kind of stiff. And I've tried some things that I thought might fix it, but what's been interesting to me is, being off sugar now for 11 days, I've lost a lot of that pain and stiffness in my fingers. So I'm going to keep it up for another week or so. Don't know how long I'll do it. I'm not really suggesting that you do, but I'm going to tell you it's a good idea. I didn't know how addicted I was to sugar until I quit, and I did have some withdrawals, some headache. I was tired. I was a little bit cross, and the interesting thing is still every time I have a meal or eat something, I keep thinking there's something in my mind here that tells me I need a piece of candy or sugar or cookie. Well, I quit doing that for a while. So I'll get off of that part. I want to get right into the ingredients that we're going to put in our recipe today. I will tell you it's a delightful dish if you like shrimp, and there's going to be a few vegetables in it. So we'll get right at it in just a minute. I'm going to go over here to the counter, and I'm going to show you what we're going to put in here, so you'll see our ingredient list. So again, thanks for being here. See you shortly. Okay, we've got our camera rolling now, and you can see on the counter here everything we're going to put into our dish today. This is the main ingredient, I guess we'll say. That's shrimp. I just picked that up at the market. It's fresh. In fact, it's a tiny bit frozen. But we'll put that in there. That's about a half a pound of shrimp goes in this recipe. Here's one of my favorite veggies. This is snow peas, and I like them. I'm going to cut those in half, and I do it because they're bite-sized. Now, garlic. I love garlic, and I'm going to put these 3 and about a half of a clove in here. You might use less or you might use more, but we're going to use those. I'm going to use 1 carrot I'm going to grate the carrot up and put it in grated. I've got a few onions here. I guess we call them green onions in Indiana, and probably Florida too. And then, of course, one of my favorites is the red bell pepper. It adds a little sweetness to it. Just picked that up today. And with most seafoods, it's, I think, nice to put some citrus in there. So we're going to put a little bit of lemon in it. Now, it should be fixed quite often with either rice or rice noodles. Now, I told you I'm off sugar. I didn't go into detail, and I'm off carbs too. And the reason is, all these carbs that I have back here, I keep them here, all of them have sugar in. So I stopped the carbs, and I'm just going to tell you about this today. I'm not going to fix it. I've fixed it before. It's nice to have with the dish, but you can eat it without it. Now, there's a couple ways to do this. You can use ginger, minced up ginger. I'm going to put in ginger juice. I like the ginger juice quite a bit. It seems to me that it's a little bit more flavorful, and that's why I'm using it. One of the very basics in Oriental or Asian cooking is soy sauce, so we're going to put some soy sauce in there. And then the oil that I'm using today, now I don't know if you've ever tried this or not, but this is sesame oil. And although I like coconut oil, I like olive oil, sesame oil, it does give this a certain little flavor that you just don't get without it. I'm going to put some cornstarch in to kind of thicken it and allow it to stick to the vegetable, so we'll see that. We'll make a little slurry. And then, of course, again, one of my favorites, you can see that's about half full or half empty. That's the Sichuan flakes, the red pepper flakes that we'll put in there. And then I mentioned we've got a bell pepper, and I think that takes pretty good care of the ingredients. So what I'm going to do now is save you some time. I'm going to start chopping this up and shred these and so forth. And when I get them all ready, then we're going to meet over here to the stove, and we're going to put them into the heat and get busy and make a pretty good meal. So I hope you'll enjoy what we're doing, and stick with us there till the end, and you'll get to see me enjoy the flavors that I'm going to put together today. So again, thank you for showing up. Goodbye. Okay, we're getting ready to roll here. I've been heating up this wok, and I've got my sesame oil out here, so we're supposed to have about 2 tablespoons of that in there. I think that's about 2 tablespoonfuls, and we'll kind of move that around a little bit. This shouldn't take too long. I've got the shrimp in the refrigerator. It's marinating. I'm going to show you what we put in there in a few minutes. But we'll start out with carrots first and put them in there. And we're going to start, of course, stir frying these. And next I'm going to put in the snow peas and soften those up a little bit. And then we're going to put in the garlic. So I'm going to press the garlic. And as you've been watching me before, you know that I'd rather press garlic than chop it. And I'm going to put a little bit more of that stuff in there because I don't want to burn the garlic. And I guess won't hurt us to have a little more in there, will it? There we go. Okay, now we'll keep doing this, and of course we're going to be stirring off and on as we go along to get all this stuff mixed up and combine our flavors a little bit, get our vegetables chewable. You notice I haven't put the peppers in yet. I'll put them in toward the latter part. And sweeten it up a little bit. Give it a little bit more fiber and bulk. That garlic looks pretty good to me. It sure smells scrumptious. I like garlic. I don't know where I picked that up, but to me garlic's pretty good stuff. Now, I got a little bit more. Let's see if we can't get that in there pretty quickly. So it's working on itself. If you noticed, I've got some chopped onion back there, some tops and base of the green onion, so we're going to garnish with those at the last part. And the garlic, whoop, that's a pretty big piece. Somebody wouldn't be too happy about chewing that. That might be me. I like garlic, but I don't like that much. That's why I like to mince it up with this machine I got. The other thing is, it seems to squeeze juice out of the garlic where chopping itself doesn't always do that. A lot of times the juice that comes out of the garlic while you're chopping it stays on the cutting board and doesn't get in the food. So we like it in there. Now, let's see. I'll get a little bit more of that out. Every last morsel. And I'm going to stir it some more. I think we're getting ready. It looks like everything's kind of softening up a little bit. And of course I'm excited to put that shrimp in there because that's what's going to make this dish. So we got that. Now let's put in some peppers and get them softened up a little bit. I don't like the peppers too much, and of course in the stir fry we're supposed to have semi-crisp, and I guess that's okay because I don't like eating vegetables raw. That's why we're heating them up a little bit in here, and that's looking pretty good. Now I like to put that up around the edges there and take this off, and I'm going over to the refrigerator and get my shrimp, and I'll show you what we've done with that in just a jiffy. I'm going to get this little fella out of here. I'll be right back. Now you'll see in the recipe, but I marinated the shrimp, and it's got the soy sauce, it's got a little bit of lemon in there, and I zested half of the lemon. I say a little bit, it's got half of the juice of a lemon. I've got a teaspoon of our ginger juice in there, and I'm going to reserve what I got here. I did put the old sesame, not sesame, yeah, the seeds in there, so I'm starting to it. Now I'm going to tell you about this shrimp. This is pre-cooked shrimp. You can buy shrimp if you want to mess with it and devein it and do all that and get fresh shrimp, but I like to use this. I'm not going to cook it very long, as you'll see, because for the most part everything's done. So what I want to do is heat that shrimp through so I don't have to cook it long since it's pre-cooked. And isn't that looking pretty? I've said before, it looks like a Christmas dish there, red and green. Now, we've got that all in there, and of course this is our marinade, so I'm going to kind of sprinkle that around and let that heat up and flavor our vegetables and our shrimp. We're not too far from being done here. So in a jiffy I'm going to be over to the stove and show you how I eat this. Now before I do that, I'm going to use my onions here, and these are 2 green onions that are chopped up. This is adds to the flavor. And the freshness of the dish. Isn't that pretty? So what we're doing now is I'm going to put the lid on here and turn the heat off so we don't overcook anything. And clean this off. Put my lid on. And I'll meet you over here at the table when we get the table set. And that ain't going to take long.